Hello everyone. Welcome to Anthropology 3315, Ethnomedicine. I'll be your professor, Dr. James Houck. I've been teaching full-time here at the lake for 8 years, and before that I was an adjunct for about 6 years. So all told, I've been here at the lake about 14 years. I was teaching at LSU in the Department of Philosophy and Religious Studies before I resigned my position there and took a full-time position here. Basically, I teach all of the anth courses, all of the anthropology courses in our curriculum. I was actually born and raised pretty close to here. I'm from Baker, Louisiana, graduated from Baker High School, was in the service for a while, did construction work, finally ended up at LSU. And I got an undergraduate degree in mathematics, and at that point I took up the study of anthropology, and I enrolled in the master's program at LSU in anthropology. And during that time I wrote a master's thesis on spirit possession in Trinidad, where I studied the Orisha religion. And we'll be using a lot of that material in this class. I finished at LSU, got my master's degree, went down the road to Tulane. I was fortunate enough to receive a fellowship at Tulane. So I went down the road, began my doctoral studies there, and while I was there I returned to Trinidad and did 1 calendar year of field work along with some additional summers working with the people that practice the Orisha religion, which, by the way, is an African-derived religion, very similar to Voodoo in Haiti and Santeria in Cuba, in Puerto Rico, and Candomblé in Brazil, just an African-derived religion. So I completed my dissertation at Tulane and received my PhD from Tulane in anthropology. And then I began teaching secondary mathematics in public schools. I did that here for about 6 years before something finally opened up at LSU, and I took a position there in the Department of Philosophy and Religious Studies, where I taught a course on Introduction to Religious Studies. I also taught anthropology there from time to time. And then, as I said, about 7 years ago I ended up here. Well, enough about me. What about the course? Well, the course is, of course, titled Ethnomedicine. And what is ethnomedicine? Well, ethnomedicine essentially is the study of healing and sickness cross-culturally. So it's not just medicine, it's ethnomedicine. Anytime you tag that prefix ethno on a term, it means that you're going to be looking at something globally, on a cross-cultural basis. So, for example, ethnomusicology is the study of music cross-culturally. Ethnobotany is the study of how people around the world classify and describe plants. Ethnozoology, same idea. How do other people classify and describe the animal kingdom, and so forth. This just happens to be ethnomedicine, where we do the same sort of thing in regard to healing and sickness cross-culturally. The course is structured around 8 modules, and the module topics, in fact, are listed right there on the front page of the website for this course. Within each module there will be 1 or 2 writing assignments that you'll complete. There'll be videos to screen, either lectures put together by me or YouTube videos that are relevant to the issue. There'll be readings and other resources that I'll post for you. There'll be also 1 midterm examination, 1 final examination, and then finally a short paper on a culture-bound syndrome of your choice. If you want to get a head start on that project, I've actually posted a resource for you on the Moodle site where you can find a list of culture-bound syndromes. and eventually you'll need to pick one and let me know your choice. And so basically your grades will come from the writing assignments in the modules, the 2 exams, and the short paper on a culture-bound syndrome of your choice. As far as the specific topics we'll be covering, you may want to have a copy of the syllabus out in front of you as we go through this. We'll begin in Module 1 discussing the anthropological perspective. That's important because we need to lay the groundwork or the foundation for how we're going to be approaching the subject matter of ethnomedicine, and we'll do that in that module. Also, too, we'll look at alternative realities, which is quite important in the study of ethnomedicine. Not so important in the study of medicine, but certainly in regard to ethnomedicine is quite important, since people often claim to access alternative realities or even the spirit world, like shamans, for example, or with the healing practice known as exorcism, people claim to be actually dealing with spirits from another realm. One way or the other, the topic of alternative realities is important for us, and we will be exploring that. In Module 2, we'll cover sickness and healing from an anthropological point of view. Most of what we'll be doing here is discussing chapters 1, 2, and 4 in the Hahn textbook. In Module 3, we're going to discuss the Western or scientific model of biomedicine, and we're going to do this for comparative purposes. After all, it'd be difficult to understand why ethnomedicine is distinctive and unique without having some grasp of biomedicine, or what we might consider to be normal or scientific medicine. So we'll cover that in Module 3. In Module 4, we're going to discuss traditional tribal healing. And some of the things we'll be looking at there are shamanism, exorcism. Why exorcism? Well, because exorcism is apparently the most popular form of healing around the world. And then also, too, we'll do a discussion of the Book of Water and the Spirit, which is written by an African shaman, and the book describes his initiation. And I think you'll find that quite interesting. And it will really help us with this issue of alternative realities. In Module 5, we'll be discussing other forms of traditional tribal healing, which will take us to India, Brazil, also Colombia, and other places. In Module 6, we'll be discussing the book The Serpent and the Rainbow. The ethnobotanist Wade Davis went to Haiti in search of the zombie poison and claimed to have found it. It's a somewhat controversial book, but quite interesting, and it really gives us an in-depth sort of look at ethnomedicine in Haiti, and I think you'll find that discussion quite interesting. In Module 7, we'll be delving into faith healing, which is a form of ethnomedicine that's actually practiced here in this country. So we'll take a look at faith healing. I think you'll find that kind of interesting. Also, too, we'll take a peek at psychic surgery, an amazing ethnomedical practice. And then finally, in the last module, Module 8, we'll look at the future of traditional tribal healing and Western medicine. Is it possible there could be some sort of amalgam? Could one contribute to the other? So we'll look at that issue. On your syllabus, you'll notice that I have a note about global warming. It's titled "Global Warming Hoax?" Question mark, question mark, question mark. And of course, the point here is not that I'm really concerned about global warming in general, although it is a concern, it should be a concern. The point I'm trying to make is that there are different ways of thinking about the world, and I guess if we were to consider a continuum of rationality, empiricism, etc., we would have what I call a data-based epistemology at one end and a faith-based epistemology at the other. Well, in this course, and in anthropology in general, we generally tend to stay within the data-based epistemology perspective. And the reason why I bring up the global warming hoax here is because this is an issue for which there is a veritable mountain of data that actually shows that the world is in an extreme warming period, and you can see the information I have for you there. So the issue has been settled a long time ago based on pure data. However, when politics and religion and personal sentiment start becoming important criteria for which we evaluate the merit of theories, well, that's when we run into problems. And to be quite honest, things like politics, religions, personal sentiments, so forth, these things are non-issues in regard to issues for which there is data to be brought to bear on the topic. And so the point of this little discussion is just to sort of set the tone for the course. We will always defer to the data and empiricism, especially in cases where we have good documentation, good evidence, sound data, etc. Finally, there are 4 books that you will need for the course, and in no particular order. Here's your textbook, Sickness and Healing by Hahn, and this will be your quote-unquote textbook, and it'll be labeled Hahn in the syllabus. Another book that is sort of like a textbook is Health, Healing, and Religion. We'll be reading select chapters out of this book as well. And it's the author is Kinsley. So when you see Kinsley on the syllabus, it refers to that text. Here is the text written by Malidoma Patrice Somé, the African shaman who was initiated into shamanism in the Dagara culture in Burkina Faso. And it's a fascinating autobiography of his life and a detailed description of his initiation experiences. And then finally, Wade Davis's work, The Serpent and the Rainbow, on zombies in Haiti. Pretty cool stuff.